The Sprint Stars are back at Caulfield for the Group 3 Sports Bet Sir John Monash Stakes tomorrow. It's Sports Bet Caulfield Winter Race Day that will feature a quality card of winter racing, not to mention top-notch hospitality in the Promenade or Black Caviar restaurant. Grab a bite and watch them fly around the heath as you enjoy a day out at the races. Sports Bet Caulfield Winter Race Day, tomorrow at Caulfield Racecourse. Get your tickets, just $20 at Ticket Tech.
World, mourning the loss of Brian Dixon, who has died aged 89. The Demons legend featured in over 250 games, won 5 premierships, and also went into state politics while still playing. Like Don Scott for Hawthorn, he played a key role in the club's anti-merger campaign in 1996. The Melbourne Racing Club has unveiled some changes to its spring racing calendar. The 1,000 Guineas returns to Caulfield Cup Day, while the Sir Rupert Clarke Stakes rejoins the Underwood Stakes on Caulfield Charity Family Day. A new race has also been added, the $400,000 2,000 metre Melbourne Classic for 3-year-olds. The death toll from the floods in Texas has hit 120. Over 170 are missing, with officials saying the search and rescue efforts could take weeks to complete. And a new e-safety report shows 1 in 7 Aussie children aged between 10 and 15 have experienced online grooming from adults or older teenagers. sen.com.au sport is next. World number 1, Aryna Sabalenka, is out of Wimbledon. She's fallen in 3 sets in the semis to American 13th seed Amanda Anisimova. And the pain continues for the Blues last night, going down to the lines 103-66. They battled hard, but the skill divide between the two as well as the execution just far too wide.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Good morning, great to be with you. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall on this Friday. It's the 11th of July. A big hello to you wherever you may be listening on your local SEN track dial or the SEN app. We are streaming live every day. Well, thanks to Bet365 on the SEN app, also on our YouTube page and our Facebook page. So it's great to have your company on those platforms. Big show coming your way as always on a Friday. I always look forward to catching up with our first guest, Richard Freeman, who's about to join us. I've known Richard for a while. I used to work with him at Sky Racing. I respect his opinion. He's a great horse trainer as well. And he's done it all in the racing game, from a media performer to administrator to a Group 1 winning trainer. So I'm looking forward to catching up with Richard. He might have a winner for us too on Saturday in the Midway. Dylan Gibbons will join us. He's a young superstar. He's made a successful comeback from a serious shoulder injury, and he's riding in terrific form. So we'll catch up with Dylan. Our experts after that, Dean Watling will look at Sydney, Shane Churlio, Mitch Lewis, Adam Duran and Peter Anthonys for the Western Whip Around. Andrew O'Toole will join us to have a chat about day 2 of the Northern Territory or Darwin Carnival, and then Bag of Tips. Amanda Rando will join us to give us a tip in the trots. Heath Pope to talk about his tipping in the AI. Once again, we had a lot of feedback from his chat to us a few weeks back, so we'll have another chat to Heath Pope with the way that he does the form through AI. And then Steve Griffin, the CEO of Greyhound Racing New South Wales, will join me to discuss a few major changes in the sport there. 0499 736 736 to join our conversation. You can join our conversation anytime you want on this Friday morning. And Giddy Up is brought to you by Bet365 Top Tote Plus. You'll get the best payout across all 3 national totes. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Our first guest is ready to go. Richard Freedman joins us on this Friday morning. Good morning to you, Rich.
Hey, Gareth. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, good. Can't complain.
Plenty happening in the sport of racing. I thoroughly enjoy your work on social media. I love your opinion. Sometimes you agree, sometimes you disagree. But it's been a busy July, really, in the sport of racing.
Yeah, a few things have happened, most of which I agree with, some of which I don't necessarily agree with. But, that's racing. Everyone's got their opinions.
Yes. What do you think the toughest job in racing is at the moment? You've worked in, as I mentioned before, in all aspects of racing. You've been a superstar media performer. You've been an administrator, a Group 1 winning trainer. You're an owner. So you've done it all in a way. What do you think the most challenging job is in racing at the moment?
Absolutely no doubt the hardest job in racing is being a trainer.
Yeah.
It is the hardest job, and it's got appreciably harder over the years because so much of the administration has been offloaded to trainers. Trainers are expected to buy horses at yearling sales, then syndicate them, carry that debt, carry that risk. Only one of those horses has got to get hurt, and before you sell it. Look, there's so many things that trainers are required to do. They've got to pay all the service providers. They've got to, all the transport companies, vets, farriers, everybody carry all the debt for owners, and sometimes those debts go into, extended periods of credit. It's just a very hard job, and it's hyper competitive because they just license too many trainers all the time. Mm-hmm. There are people getting licenses with scant experience and certainly no experience of running a business. But the regulators, just seem to want to just license more and more of them. Is there trainers training too many horses? Look, I know the argument there is that yes, I don't think it's a good thing for racing, where every other sport is trying to flatten the competition. You know what I mean, by making it more even, right? With salary caps and design rules and all sorts of different methods of doing it, drafts. Racing seems to want to encourage, elitism, where there's just a few competitive players and the rest do your best. So I don't think it's a great thing for racing, but I respect that the guys doing it. They're allowed to do it, so why wouldn't they?
There was a couple of interesting announcements yesterday in your home state of New South Wales. You train at Rose Hill. Peter McGoran, he announced that he would be stepping down before his term finished there in January next year. Did that surprise you?
It did a bit. I thought he'd carry on till the end of his tenure. But you know what? That's Peter's own decision, and he wants to move on to other things. I respect that. Yeah. I mean, I think he was only trying to put up a deal that, to my mind, was potentially a very good deal for racing in New South Wales, and it was always going to get put to the members. I don't know why all the vitriol had to come out, and why the personal attacks and they're still going from certain people in racing and social media, attacking him even now, and attacking the people who are going to stand for the same position. It's just, to me, I can't see why they need to do that. All they needed to do was have a vote. They had a vote, got defeated, move on.
And I agree with you there. I read Peter McGoran's statement out yesterday, and the part that what unfortunately for Peter was that I think the government didn't give him enough time so he could sell that message on why we should be selling, or why the ATC should be selling Rose Hill. And when he made his game plan, it was just all over the place and didn't have solid enough evidence for people to make a decision. And if you didn't want Rose Hill to be sold, it was an easy argument to say, well, they don't know what they're doing because no one knows the facts behind their decision and what's going to happen if they do get that $5 billion, and will they get their $5 billion. But I think what Peter Peter got told about the news, this is what could happen. And I think under any administrator, if you got told by the government that if you sell Rose Hill, we will give you $5 billion, I think it's a duty of any board that you need to follow that up and then take it to the members and say, well, this could future-proof racing. So I felt a little sorry for him. He didn't have enough time really to get his game plan ready to go.
Well, I think I agree with you on that, because I think if they got to 44% people agreeing with it, with really no time to process the information. I think if it had gone on another few months, Rose Hill would have been sold. But that's not the way it is, and that's not the way it's going to be. So, you just got to get on with it, haven't we?
Yeah, I totally agree. And let's hope whoever takes charge next time can make the right decisions for the betterment of the game. And everyone, I'd love racing for everybody to be on the same page and work as united on a united front. And everyone says, I haven't got self-interest. Every person has self-interest. It doesn't matter what state you're in these days. And hopefully that will change one day. The Melbourne Cup, it's worth $10 million. I saw that you're a little bit critical there on social media. They're paying back to last, which has also created a little bit of debate. What's your first thoughts on the decision there by Racing Victoria and the VRC about the Melbourne Cup?
First things first, increases in prize money, never a bad thing, right? Let's just, get that premise out there straight away, that it's never a bad thing. I just have a different view of how prize money should be distributed. I'm not one of these people, and this has been a long time held view of mine. Not everyone agrees with it, that we have enough top-end prize money. I haven't seen a business case yet that says if you put more prize money on, you get more turnover, you get more, because that certainly hasn't been the case with a lot of races in New South Wales and Victoria, probably more so in Victoria. I'm not a big, and I'm certainly not a fan of spending industry money running around on junkets around the world trying to encourage people to bring horses from overseas here. Because I'm not a big fan of just sending tens of millions of dollars in prize money out of the country, never to be seen again. I think we need every dollar we can get in this country. And until I see a business plan that says, it's a massive uplift if you bring all these internationals in, which I have not seen. If anyone's got one, please forward it to me. Because, from my point of view, it's just masses of dollars out of the country. For what?
But you have a look at last year's Melbourne Cup, Richard. Knight's Choice, an Australian-owned galloper. Warp Speed was Japanese. Akita Sushi was purchased by Australian Connections. Sardozi owned by Godolphin. Absurd was owned overseas. Circle of Fire, Australian owners and import galloper. Fancy Man the same. Mr. Ho owned Land Legend, Buckaroo, Aussie Kerr, Kovalika.
You can go through the list, I've got no issue with horses that are purchased to race in Australia by Australian Connections. No problem with them at all. It's the FIFO horses that just come in, foreign trainers, foreign owners, get the prize money, disappear. That's the one I don't like.
But don't you think sometimes the Melbourne Cup, you need that international flavour, a little bit like the Cox Plate where you're trying to...
Why?
Well, I think it adds a little bit to the great race.
Really? What does it add?
Well, I think that you can have some of the biggest players on the world stage arrive here, and I think that because you're not going to get the field these days, as I just read out. There's about 3 or 4 international trainers that competed last year. There was Harry Eustace, Brian Allison, Willie Mullins, and the Japanese. So there was 5 trainers out of 24.
Do you think that increases turnover on the race?
I think it
does. Because certainly the facts wouldn't support that.
Yeah.
I mean, the more they increase the foreign representation in the Melbourne Cup, the more the turnover dropped.
Well, I think that you'll see from an international perspective anywhere in this country, for instance, the Everest with the horse from Hong Kong, Kaiying Rising, turnover will be through the roof because of the relationship that horse has with the Hong Kong punters and the Asia market. So
if that happens, that happens. Yeah. But it certainly hasn't been in any business case that I've seen proven that any of that helps. I think there comes a limit too to how much money you can afford just to send overseas.
Yeah, I think more the point there, the argument is that all of those horses there that race in the Melbourne Cup, the majority of them are purchased from Australian Connections.
Got no problem with it.
Yeah, from European, but that's So they're spending money on these horses instead of breeding our own stays and trying to find.
Well, yes, there's money going out of the
Yeah.
country in that regard,
Yep.
but you know that's their right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with that, because if people want to spend their money on that, that's their right to do that.
What about paying back to last? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I wouldn't pay back to last, but you know, I don't see what that will achieve. What do you think it'll achieve?
Well, I think that horses, like, I had a look. I was split on this. When I first thought about it, I thought, well, I don't think that's the Australian way. And I had Aaron Morrison on, and I didn't want to debate it with him yesterday, but he explained why they made that decision, along with the VRC, who were adamant that this should be happening if they're going to increase the prize money to reward the people who made it into the Melbourne Cup. Now,
No, I don't believe that. I think it's to reward the people they encourage to come here from overseas.
But there, you have a look at the bottom 12. There wasn't like Sea King, which is owned by OTI. It was in the bottom 12. Like Just Fine, who's owned by that big syndicate there. St. George,
Look,
My Racehorse.
As I say, I'm ambivalent towards it. Right? I'm ambivalent about it. Personally, I probably wouldn't do it, but if they want to do it, more prize money to horses and owners.
But
never a bad thing.
It costs you 60,000. Like we've owned a few horses, been lucky enough to run in some nice races of late. It's not it's like I was blown away, and I was a little bit naive to this, Rich, but I can't believe how much it costs an owner to race in these races. Like it's 60,000 at least to race in a Melbourne Cup. So if you finish last,
no, it's a lot of money to race in a Melbourne Cup.
Yeah.
But people were doing that before they paid back to 10th. They were more than happy to do it. They were getting full fields.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sort of always on the cost and return. Do you get an increased return for that extra cost? Well, I think it's a hard case to argue.
Anyway. Yeah, well, it's an interesting debate, and I can understand both sides of that argument. They've lost 18 race meetings, Victoria, but they decided to put the money back into maidens. And people say that
I support.
Yes.
That I support greatly, because that is where I think the people who are racing is the only sport with 190 backbones, but the owners who pay up for horses who are racing for low grade races, but they're keeping the fields full and they're keeping the turnover going, and they're paying trainers who can then pay service providers and strappers and all that sort of thing. They are probably the backbone of racing, and they are doing it the hardest at the moment, because the expenses, COVID lifted the expenses in racing enormously, especially for trainers. Because things like people like track work riders, the price went up because there were no foreign riders in the country, and when prices go up, they never come back. So I think they're the ones who are really, really funding the game. They're putting their hard-earned money in, and they're the ones who need an early and better return.
I agree. And I think the biggest challenge in racing is racing sustainability at the moment.
Well, I take the view of this. It's great having aspirational races. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to win a Melbourne Cup. Everyone wants to win an Everest. Everyone wants to win a list of other races. I get that, and you've got to have them. But you have to keep your eye on how much you put into those races, because that's a very small number of people who get to compete for that prize money, compared to the myriad of people who are racing horses that cost just as much to train and just as much to buy in lower grade races. They're the ones who probably need the help more, because they're not the ones with the elite horse, and they're the vast majority.
I think you make an interesting point. I'll let you go. I appreciate this, Rich, is that if you analysed each and every meeting, do we run too many meetings that don't make us any money?
Well, that is a complicated, argument, and probably beyond us here on radio. Just you're talking off the top of our head.
Don't underestimate us, Rich. No,
it's an interest. I don't know the answer to that.
No.
I'm sure there are people looking at that on a daily basis. I hope there are, but I just think the people who race the lower grade horses, who are the vast majority of owners, who put in just as much as the guys who get a shot at the big prize money, they need to be looked after, and they need to be looked after now, because there's a crunch coming here. Costs are going up, and a lot of people are taking smaller shares than they used to, or not taking shares in horses. we see it as trainers all the time,
Yeah.
and it's getting harder and harder.
And just the other aspect, I think sometimes the top end races that have been increased this year are not the funds aren't just coming from Racing Victoria. The MRC got a lot of money, so they've put in money to top up those races. The VRC are in a better financial spot at the moment, so they've been able to put some more money into those races to top them up like some of their autumn races as well, along with Moonee Valley. So it's not just Racing Victoria giving the VRC an extra $1 million to put up that race to be a $10 million race.
I'm not criticising.
No,
more
no,
prize
I'm just
money.
explaining.
No one ever,
Text. Yeah.
no one ever criticises more prize money.
No.
I just have a view that we need to look after the bottom end more than we need to look after the top end at the moment. And that's basically crystallises where I sit on it. And most of the regulators wouldn't know my view. It's not new.
No.
I've been saying this for 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. I think it's good debate. I think more people need to be talking about this, because everybody at the end of the day has their opinion, Richard, but they've got racing in the best interest. So you wouldn't be saying this if you didn't believe that you didn't think this would help racing out.
And neither would they be doing what they're doing.
100%.
We all want the best for racing.
Yeah.
This is not a personal attack on anybody. It's just a different point of view. And I think that's healthy to have different points of view. What is unhealthy is to attack people who don't agree with you.
Yeah.
We've seen too much of that in the world, in a lot of places.
No, and
not just in this country either.
No, and especially in racing, which is a little bit disappointing. Yeah. But anyway, well, hey, can walking painting win the Midway?
Look, he probably would like the track a little bit wetter than it's probably going to be.
Yeah.
But look, he's in the best form of his time in Australia, and his owners are having a bit of fun. And you know, there's an example.
Yeah.
A lot of people can midways and highways, which we run here in New South Wales. I think they've been a great addition. Mm-hmm. They're an addition. They're not taking prize. They weren't taking prize money away from anybody else. They run 10 races now instead of 8, so they were an addition. And it gives people who own a horse that's not quite capable of winning a 78 on a Saturday, that can win a 72 on a Saturday in those restricted grades, it gives them a chance to get some decent prize money. I don't see the problem with it. But yet you hear people saying, oh, why would you give prize money to those horses? Because they cost the same as the good ones.
I agree.
That's why you would.
Yeah, and I think they've been winners as well, because you've got to keep the more people in the game, the better, so they can keep on rolling over. You buy one horse, you want them to buy 2 or 3. You don't want to have a bad experience where they go and tell their friends and they never get another horse again. And
100%, yeah. And the more we can do for those people, the healthier the sport will be, in my opinion.
No,
and it's just my opinion.
I totally agree. We've got friends and all that in horses that have been with us a little bit. We're not, we're 1%, 2% owners, but it does matter. It does matter a lot. They need to have that enjoyable experience. So, yeah, I agree with you, Rich. Hey, thanks for that, mate. We appreciate you coming on.
Not at all. Not at all, mate.
I might have to talk to your manager, see if I can sign you.
Anytime, mate.
Yeah, thanks,
anytime.
Rich. Appreciate
all
it,
right,
mate.
Pal.
There's Richard Freeman there. Always fascinating, always interesting, got his strong opinion. He's been in the game for a long time. You might not agree with him, but I think he speaks from the heart, and he makes some good points there. And it's been interesting, I think, from the majority of the announcements there from Racing Victoria. I think it was a great day for racing in this state, in Victoria. So, yeah, we'll move on now. It's 24 minutes past 8. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall, thanks to Bet365. Dylan Gibbons to join us next.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, 0499 736 736. Yeah, I forgot to remind Rich that the last couple of victories in the Golden Eagle have been from international horses as well. I think international racing, not going over the top, but I think some international representation in our bigger races is healthy for the game. 8:29, let me know what you think. 0499 736 736. Do you like international runners in our feature races, whether it be the Everest or the Golden Eagle, or whether it be a Caulfield Cup, a Cox Plate, or the Great Melbourne Cup? And your thoughts about paying back to last in the Melbourne Cup. 0499 736 736. And don't forget, we've got our $100 staking plan competition. So last week, no winners. Who was our representation that we put $100 on for? And Jake was okay, but the Don Bradman went missing. So it was, She's and Arna's was very costly. So no, the Bet365 got the better of us last week, but we'll go again this week. So I need your nominations. The $100 staking plan. Let us know. 0499 736 736. Let's take the news on the other side of it. The young gun from Sydney, Dylan Gibbons, will join us.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News this hour. The federal opposition wants to know more about a meeting Kevin Rudd had with Donald Trump back in January. The search continues today for a German backpacker missing in Western Australia. More than 1 in 4 young people are getting sunburned, putting them at risk of getting cancer. Almost 26% of 18 to 24-year-olds are exposing themselves to high levels of UV rays. And the search for survivors continues in flood-ravaged Texas. The death toll has now passed 120. SEN.com.au sport is coming up next. World number 1, Aryna Sabalenka, is out of Wimbledon. She's fallen in 3 sets in the semis to American 13th seed Amanda Anisimova. And the pain continues for the Blues last night, going down to the lines 103 to 66. They battled hard, but the skill divide between the two, as well as the execution, just far too wide.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
They start to turn. 450 metres to go. Estadio Mastella, Wind Chat together from Estero, accredited to the outside. Robusto's run up behind them. He's looking for a run. Accredited shut the door on him as they reach the 200. Estadio Mastella still kicking. Accredited trying to come out of the pack. He's got 2 to make up. Wellwall's weaving into the clear. Oh, he got tight for room inside Thunder Lifts, but still Estadio Mastella. Accredited holding second at the moment. Robusto gets out, but Estadio Mastella has won from Robusto, grabbing second ahead of Accredited.
Estadio Mastella won the winner stakes there last week. It was for Dylan Gibbons. He's about to join us. He's just pulling up at the trials at the moment, so we'll catch up with him in the next couple of minutes. Some news coming out of the UK, which was interesting, and this is from the Racing Post. It reads, O'Shea Murphy is to have incredibly strict conditions placed on his riding licence. Acting BHA Chief Executive Brad Dunshay revealed on Thursday. Dunshay said the governing body was working through the process of agreeing conditions attached to Murphy's licence. In the wake of his court appearance last week, Murphy was fined £70,000 and banned from driving for 20 months after pleading guilty to driving over the limit for alcohol. The four-time champion jockey said there was no excuse for what I did. In a statement released after the hearing at the Reading Magistrates Court last Thursday, details released in the case revealed that Murphy had a single vehicle accident in April when the car he was driving left the road and collided with a tree. Dunshay, speaking to Ed Chamberlain during ITV's July meeting coverage on Thursday, said as a consequence of a very heavy engagement between O'Shea and our team, we're going through a process of agreeing a set of incredibly strict conditions. This will include enhanced testing, both on the racecourse and away from the racecourse, which I found it interesting. So that's the situation with one of the best jockeys in the world there in the UK. I'm loving the work of Dylan Gibbons. He's one of my favourite hoops. He's come back in brilliant form after that nasty shoulder injury, and he joins us now here on Giddy Up. Dylan, good morning to you, mate. Thanks for your time.
No worries, Gareth. How are you?
Good, thanks, mate. You must be over the moon with the way that you've been able to find some form pretty quickly after that shoulder injury.
Yeah, exactly. I would have taken winners anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah.
But been fortunate enough to strike a bit of luck on the Saturday Metro meetings, which is always good. And obviously, it's a good time of year to try and get some momentum. So it's it couldn't have worked out better, really.
What was the toughest part to come back from an injury like that?
I think having just probably so long off, the first probably month or two, it was all right. It was a bit of a paid holiday, but after that, it got a bit frustrating, sitting there watching the races, and you sort of get to a point you're able to do everything and you're not restricted, but you're not able to do your job, and it was frustrating. I could walk around and do most things, but I couldn't go ride racehorses, and it just got to a point you just feel like a bit of a waste, but once I did all the rehab and everything, I was glad to get, stuck back in as soon as I could.
I know you're great mates with Tyler Schiller and also Zach Lloyd, and you would have been supporting them and being very happy for their success. But was that even more frustrating to see your great mates having Group 1 success when you're on the sidelines?
Yeah, look, it's probably not frustrating that it was happening to them, but because we got along and basically all come through together, you start to think, oh, well, I was going along with them, so it would have been nice to be riding and see what could have happened for me. But look, I think the good thing is we are good mates, and we help each other through it all. And obviously Tyler's out now with a broken back, so hopefully he can come back and get straight back into it ASAP as well.
So you've been able to build some wonderful momentum now as we head towards the spring. What is your spring looking like?
Look, I'll just be trying to find whatever I can and go wherever I can. Obviously, I think a horse like Brave One, I don't know if he'll match it to the Group 1 grade, but far out what he's done during winter, it's pretty good. And his last start win was against the Pattern of the Day. He was back wide around Rose Hill, which you don't see many horses do. So I think he's one, he's going out for a spell now. He's in obviously the right hands in the Hawks camp. They don't push their horses any harder than they need to be. So I've obviously got a horse like him, which would be nice to hopefully see where he can measure up. But look, I'm getting involved with some pretty good stables now, which is always good and probably what you need to do leading into carnival time. So the weight's great. I walk around 52, 53 kilos, and I'll just be ready to take whatever comes my way.
Beautiful, mate. Have you got a glass of water there? It sounds like you're a bit like me sometimes.
I do actually.
Yeah, go and have a glass of water, mate. I'll let you have a drink. I know how you feel. There's nothing worse when you're trying to talk
the man flu.
Yeah, you're trying to get through something and you can't breathe. Usually I've got a cough button to help me out, but you poor fella, you can't do that. Like Tyler Schiller, he took a punt with Team Hawks. I guess he didn't put all of his eggs in that basket, but he identified they might have some good horses. And then you get a little bit of luck. Team Hawks kick, and he's got Briasa and those horses, the nepotisms and some of those young horses coming through that can really kickstart a spring. From your perspective, do you have to try and find and take a punt with the stable, or Have you identified a stable that you do most of your work at, or how do you approach that?
Yeah, it depends. All jockeys are sort of different. Tyler's probably a good example. He obviously started having very good luck with them and doing the work with them. He was riding their young horses, knew they had good young horses, and ultimately one of them was nepotism. So he probably didn't put all his eggs in their basket, but he was happy, just taking whatever they had, and ultimately he got him a TJ Smith and another Group 1. So you can do that. I prefer to try and get my foot in as many doors as possible, and there's so many good stables and so many big stables at the moment too that I think the more you can hedge your bets, the better.
Yeah, all right, mate. We'll let you go because you got to go to the trials. What's your best chance tomorrow, brother? You got some nice rides.
I think Liberty State, she was obviously very good first up, and then obviously when they can run so well first up, they can just be a little bit plain second up. So I rode her during the week, and I think she's ready to bounce back and get in the winner's stall.
Race 10, number 3. There's one question coming through. Do you reckon Zach will propose while he's overseas? He's a bit young, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't know with him. He keeps his love life to himself.
Oh,
so
does he?
There's every chance something random like that could happen. So,
well, he's announced it.
He's on a nice holiday.
He's announced it, I reckon. I reckon he's announced it on social media for the first time. So he was a. It's good to see that he's found love, Zachy boy. So away he goes. There'll be no stopping him now.
I know. It's a funny sight. Normally, as soon as he gets a chance to be away from the races and go out, he is, and now all of a sudden he's taking cute photos with his girlfriend. So it's a funny change.
Well, you go and look after yourself, mate. I reckon some honey and some tea. And we wish you the best of luck.
Strepsils.
Yeah, go and get them, mate. Hey, geez, that ride on Half Yours as well was clearly the best ride I've seen for quite some time. So yeah, I reckon jockeys should take a leaf out of your book and do a little bit more of that because, geez, that was an 11 out of 10 ride that day, mate. I know I was going to let you go. How good is he, that horse?
Yeah, I think he's very good.
Yeah.
Obviously to do what he did, and then ultimately I didn't have much luck on him next start 3 deep, and he still nearly won. But then to see the way he quickened over 2,400 metres the other day, obviously it was good. My good mate Ash Morgan got the ride back on him, and he was devastating. You just don't see him win like that over 2,400. So I think he could be the real deal, and hopefully he keeps progressing.
Good on you, mate. Thanks for that. Enjoy the trials.
No worries. Thank you.
There's Dylan Gibbons. What a young star he is. Hey, Paulie Sebastiani, bad luck on last night. The mighty Brisbane Lions were too good for Carlton. I felt like it was one of those victories that I thought, I've got my beanie on today, as you can see if you're watching the stream.
Yes.
But I just felt sorry for the Carlton because you played with some heart and determination, but you just got no skill anymore. You lack confidence. Is that why you shaved your beard?
No. I usually do this.
Have you found love with something?
Oh, mate, what's going on with you today, mate? You're talking about Zach. You're talking about me with love.
Hey, we need to get a camera so we can see you. Like
I can come into the studio shortly if you'd like. But I've got to control the buttons here, otherwise you won't be on air.
So you can look at the staking plans as well, and we might go through them a little later on. Keep them flowing in.
Idea, mate. Yes.
So the game is $100. You get $100 staking plan. You send that to us. Louis, he writes them down, and then we analyse them over the weekend. And whoever wins, I'll give you a Bradman, and I will put the bet on for you for the next week you come on the show.
That sounds like a fantastic idea. I'll make sure I've got this facial hair down pat for you, mate.
I put on a couple of Bradmans because I couldn't live with myself if they won and I didn't.
Yes. Your boys were very impressive.
Premiership. I can't, I think we're dead set absolute morals for the flag. I've never been more confident.
God.
I don't know how they're going to beat us. We've got the best midfield in the competition.
That I agree with. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
We've got the best all-round footy club at the moment, and we lost Joe Danaher, but we don't need Danaher with the way that, like Chris Fagan, he's been able to implement a forward line that you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yep. The youngster Logan Morris looks a very, very good talent as well.
So many different players that can play in different spots.
Yep. Shame about Noah Answorth. That was
he's
a brutal,
good player.
Brutal injury.
But the best part about that, we've got players coming through the reserves, knocking on the door now.
Stay fit, and away you go.
All right, then.
That's a knocking effect for those.
Hey, Godolphin will announce their trainers today as well.
Right?
I might discuss that straight after the break.
All right, let's do that.
Man. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. Great to have your company on this Friday morning. And I'll take a break. Just before we take a break, don't forget, if you like your Quinellas, exactas, trifectas, first fours and quaddies, this Saturday with Bet365, you'll be paid out the highest national tote for all the exotics at Caulfield, Randwick, Doomben, Murray, Bridge and Bunbury. Now, that's 45 races because it's never ordinary at Bet365. Selected meetings and eligible customers only. Terms and conditions apply. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Giddy up with Gareth Hall, one of my favourite people of all time. Just follow me on Instagram. Joel Kane, I love Joel. He's a superstar, obviously. Joel and Fletch in the afternoons on 11:70. And a man that plays a major part on that show is our very own Dean Watling. G'day, Dino.
Morning, G. Morning, G. Good story about Joel. I don't know if you saw his State of Origin.
Yeah, that's why I saw the post that he put. It says, just want to share a little note for our boys. Tom Dearden between 2019-21 went 25 games straight as a starting NRL halfback, losing them all. Imagine the head noise / doubt. Resilience, belief, hard work is the great story and tests. Be loyal to yourself. So many give up when, unbeknownst to them, they probably are that close. Obstacles are assured on your or our journeys. Never perfect. March on, lads. And I tell you what, I read that and jumped out of bed at 11:30 last night and went for a 5K run. I said, I will not be beaten today.
That's Gus Gould areas.
Yeah, it is Gus Gould areas. And Joel and Fletch are dominating proceedings. I thought you didn't turn up for the weekend preview yesterday because you said you were sick, but you were sick by the performance in New South Wales, Dino.
Yeah, that just added to the sickness, G. You know, I've been run down all week. One day I'm good, one day I'm bad. And to add to that, it was like a horror movie you'd seen before after 10 minutes, G. I knew it was all over. I think we all did. I don't know, G. Maybe we just don't get Origin, do we?
Well, I don't know. It was, as Andrew John said, I think on the Sunday, and it was so sad to see what Cam Munster went through last week, but he said that would unite the Queensland side, and it did just that. They just wanted it more in the end. And anyway, Queensland win another game decider. Hey, we'll get your tips in just a moment. We've got the Godolphin horses being announced today, or the trainers anyway. There's a few people texting in. Team Hayes are receiving up to 30 horses from Godolphin. Be interesting to see which one's such a good stable with 2-year-olds. That's from Merv. So I know Lindsay Park. I said this on Monday on Giddy Up's means test that Lindsay Park would get some. Chris Waller will get some. Joe Pride will get some. I reckon Joe Pride might get Tom Kitten. They tell me B. Baker's on the list. Who else?
Won't send any to Hong Kong, G?
No, they can't. No, I don't think so. They haven't got a trainer there. Who else have they got? Kieran Maher, of course. He'll get the majority of them. Friedman's. Baker, yeah. I reckon the McAvoys might. I haven't got this confirmed. Gary Portelli could be one. Hey, I've got to take a break. We'll come back and get a few of your tips. Let us know if you know who the Godolphin trainers are, if you're hearing anything on the grapevine. 0499 736 736.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENtrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. We're streaming live every day on the SEN app, also our YouTube channel and also on Facebook. Dean Watling's with us. No Dino yesterday. He was crook, so we got him on to give us his tips for Randwick tomorrow. What do you like, Dino?
We've got a couple of races I want to go through, G. Race 1, Race 4, Race 7 and Race 8.
So do race 1 for me and then I'll have to go to the news. So do race 1 now.
Well, race 1G, exciting little 2-year-old clash. Pillow Flight's the favourite. Obviously comes out of that States race behind Autumn Boy up there in Queensland. Gets the blinkers on too and well found. I just thought the market gravitated towards that horse and a little bit too much here, G. Crossbow ties in through Central Coast last start, who ties in through Autumn Boy. So I think you can forecast that second up improvement for Crossbow, G. I thought that was the bet in the race, and Pillow Fight's too well found. So Beautiful. Race 1, number 4 was the bet to kick off the program there, G, at Randwick.
And the Snowden runner got the job done with our trial time black book as well yesterday.
It did. Caesar and Nazwa.
Nazwa was the horse. I couldn't believe I was watching this racing in the background. I was doing some research and I forgot about Nazwa. Anyway, you live and learn. We need to definitely put them in our black books to get reminded. We'll take the news. It's right on 9 o'clock.
Powered by Signet. Good morning. I'm Adam Pont with SEN News. The federal opposition wants to know more about a meeting Kevin Rudd had with Donald Trump. It's been revealed our ambassador to America caught up with the US president at a golf club in Florida back in January. Deputy Liberal leader Ted O'Brien telling Nine, we have a right to know what's going on.
We don't know if the meeting was a formal meeting. We don't know if it was just a matter of Kevin Rudd waving at the president. But what it does expose is the fact where the Prime Minister needs to meet with the president. I mean, it's crazy.
The search today continuing for a backpacker missing in WA. The van that German Carolina Wilger was last travelling in was found yesterday afternoon abandoned in the state's northeast wheat belt with mechanical issues. She has not been seen since June 29. More than 1 in 4 young people are getting sunburn, putting them at risk of skin cancer. Almost 26% of 18 to 24-year-olds are exposing themselves to high levels of UV rays. The Cancer Institute says a large number of this age group have misconceptions about fake tanning protecting them from sunburn. And the search for survivors continues in flood-ravaged areas of central Texas. The death toll has now passed 120. And if you're into gossip, fashion, cooking and outdoor living, this could be your next business move. Australia's longest-running women's magazines are up for sale. Publisher R Media putting its Aussie staples like Women's Weekly, New Idea and Better Homes and Gardens on the market. sen.com.au sport coming up next. A final shaping match between the Hawks and the Dockers in Perth tomorrow night. Hawthorn have dropped one young forward for another. Coach Sam Mitchell telling SEN Cal Shadir should handle the conditions better than Max Ramsden.
Probably a bit of wet weather over in WA. Having that tall marking option, but who was also quite strong on the ground and can put some pressure on, is what we went for this week.
Weather's next.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. Dean Watling's with us here. We are streaming live. He's never looked better, Dino, on our SEN app, our YouTube channel, also on Facebook. You can listen to us on your local SENtrack dial or the SEN app. So he likes crossbow in the first race there at Randwick tomorrow. What else have you got for us, Dino?
Yeah, it's a nice meeting. Race 4 is the next race I want to sort of touch on. We got the chocolates last start. I think Mickey Gann and I were keen on Star Deal at the midweeks.
Yeah.
And there was a change of tactics there, back to 11. They pushed the button early, and this horse put an absolute gap in them. So I do respect the 9 Flamer Fistia, but she comes out of a weaker rating provincial race straight to Metro, and she's come up favourite. So I just thought she was well found. Thought Star Deal gets the run of the race, probably lead us back, and the rail's out 6 metres. So I'm suggesting firmer deck, up and in's probably the place to be. Thought Star Deal was the bet at the price, and a little saver on King's Secret. This horse, 3 wide the trip over the 1,100 metres at Rosehill from that shoot start. There's an abundance of merit in that performance. So yes goes to 60.5 kilos, which is a query. But I think Joe Pride touched on this last week, some of his horses, and he thinks weights are overplayed. I think this is a horse who carries weight well. So little 2-bet play there, race 4, number 7, Star Deal to win, and a little saver on the 1, King's Secret.
What else have you got for us?
Race 7G, keen to aim up here. Another one I want to take on the favourite. Casil comes up 2 from 2 this preparation. Last start win was good. 2.5 lengths to Hawkesbury, but I'm always keen to take on Hawkesbury form when it goes straight to town. I think Lulu Mon has much better form, 2 from 2 over Storm the Ramparts this preparation. That's the grouse form in Sydney at the moment, sprinting-wise. So the 1 Forgive got its head up, just wanted to over-race, but now peaks 4th up. Yes, tricky gate, but I'd suggest Jason Collett. I haven't seen him ride better than he is at the moment. So I think race 7, number 3, Lulu Mon will start a firm favourite there, G-Man.
Beautiful. Race 1, number 4, race 4, number 7, race 7, number 8 so far. I think we're getting 380 Casil. What else have you got for us?
And race 9G, it's a knockout. This horse just come back better and stronger. I thought it was one of the better bets of the program.
Wait a sec.
10, it's
hello? Yeah, Paps is on the phone saying Dino's got no idea. He reckons get a... Did he? I missed the Sydney set yesterday because I had to... I'll listen back to it on podcast. Did he tip it, get a fix or not? I would imagine he would have.
I'm similar boat to you, G. I just think J-Mac jumping off, that's the query for me. I know I just suggested Jason Colt's going terrific, which he is, but it's always a query when J-Mac gets off. He gets the best out of his horses, and the ratings suggested that. I think he's never gone as good as he did last start.
Yeah. So you would have scratched the horse if J-Mac there didn't ride during the day and then you had to get a replacement?
No. I think it's a good chance. I just think it's well found off that big run last start.
Okay, mate. What's your best?
Best bet, G. I think race 7 race 7, number 3, Lulu Mon's the best. And the next best, G, race 1, number 4, Crossbow. I just like that tie-in through Central Coast and Alden Boy. I think the market's completely missed that sort of form area compared to Pillow Flight, who's too well found. So they're the 2 that I really like there in a solid Randwick program.
So who wins the rugby league? Any specials this week?
I think there is a couple of specials this week, G. My Broncos, they'll be up and going. They're probably too short. I thought the Dolphins were potentially a good bet on Friday, today, G. They're second elect against the Sharks. They're struggling. Dolphins flying, and they got that Queensland winningness from Wednesday carrying over. I thought they could potentially knock off the Sharks tonight. Beautiful.
Go and get them, mate. Keep on dominating. Good luck with your football this weekend.
Thank you, G-Man. Enjoy.
There's Dean Watling now, 8 minutes past 9. We're about to have Western Whip around. Adam Durant's not far away. Peter Anthonys will join us as well because the big meeting in WA on Saturday, we're going to Bunbury. The feature event there is the Aquanita, which is for the 3-year-olds, and also the Belmont Oaks, as well as the feature, which is race 6 on the card. But let's take a quick break. On the other side of it, Adam Durant and Peter Anthonys will join us.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall. The Western Whip Around. Tune in to Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West.
Time for the Western Whip Around. Let's catch up with the man with the best curls in racing. I speak of Pete Anthony, and he joins us now. G'day, Pete.
G'day, Gareth. I thought you were going to say Adam Durant then.
No.
I've been usurped once again.
He must be going fishing today, Adam. We'll try and get him on. He demanded he had to be off by 7:30 local time, so we'll get him on after you, the great man. I haven't talked to Adam for a while, but his team's going great guns.
Yeah, they're going really well. They've just picked up a couple of, astute sort of jockey positions. Obviously, Lucy Fiore's combined with them a few times, and obviously Pike's in good form riding for them. So, yes, they've got a dominant favourite there tomorrow in the Belmont / Bunbury Oaks.
Yes.
Look, that race for me is just very difficult to bet into. There's a lot of question marks over the trip on these. And look, the forecast itself is a bit of a nightmare overnight. They're expecting up to 20 mils of rain and possibly until 1 p.m. tomorrow. So, look, with strong winds around, then there's also a cutaway. It's going to be a really interesting day of racing. It's probably a good one to be paying attention to early and then adjusting for pattern. Wouldn't surprise if they're swooping or venturing wide into the straight to start the day, and then they may well duck back towards that cutaway if that gets chopped up. So, look, difficult days racing to try and predict, so we'll see how we go.
In the Aquanita Stakes, no opportunistic. He didn't work that well, Michael Grantham told us yesterday, so they decided to put him in the paddock, but he's done a great job. He's unbeaten this preparation, so he goes out a winner. Acadia Park, Mickey G said just to have $100 straight out on him. They're confident that he can step up and get the job done in the Aquanita Stakes, but Elite Missile's the favourite at $3 from Al Paladin Al and Redback Flyer. Your thoughts here, mate?
Look, it's not a race that I really wanted to bet into. I really like what Al Paladin Al's been doing, but I just don't know about the conditions, and we'll probably get right back towards last. I think the speed looks pretty minimal. You've got Redback Flyer and then also Arcadia Park. They're probably your 1, 2 and run unless, something else tries to kick up and take over during the race. So, look, it doesn't look like a race with much speed. I don't really have much faith in any of these, with maybe the exception of Arcadia Park in the wet. So, look, at the price, that's probably the way I'd venture if you really wanted to have a bet. But I couldn't throw you either way, to be honest.
What about outside of those feature races?
Look, I thought the best betting race was race 7. Sentimental Belle didn't go up favourite and is currently the marginal favourite, but I think we'll get a better price. And look, I thought out of all these horses, I thought she and also the stablemate Sisu Warrior, they're both going to get back and they're both going to need the wide part of the straight to figure. But I thought they too clearly had some of the better heavy track form. That's despite horses like No Brainer and Sunny Honey having won in the heavy before. So I think there'll be quite a few opportunities and quite a few opinions here to try and get a price. So in the end, I'm going Sentimental Belle, the main play, first up for that runner, like the trials, and then secondary play is Sisu Warrior, so the two Williams horses. Sisu Warrior won really well first up, I thought. So Clint Johnson Ford is sticking, and look, both of those I'll be even more confident if the wide lanes are in play there at Bunbury.
Beautiful. So they're the only two horses you're playing in that same race at the moment?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it for the day. I'll see if I can find something else in the first 3 races, but at this stage, it's just race 7, the main target for me.
Well, hopefully we can get on to Adam Durant, because it's going to be fascinating to ask him about the Sessions filly. So she goes to the Oaks over 2,000. Her last race was over 1,400 metres. She was placed over a mile. So it'd be fascinating to see if he thinks that this $1.90 favourite can get the 2,000 metres, especially on a heavy track, which she hasn't seen before.
And look, I must say, no disrespect to the rest of the field, but Fancy Red's seemingly on terms of just form and class a fair bit above them. Mm-hmm. So it's a race where you really, if the favourite doesn't run the trip, I mean, absolutely anything could happen. So it's a real fascinating quaddy leg. I suspect a lot of people will be going one out, but if you're not one out, I mean, you almost have to go field. So I really don't know where to steer people in that race. I'll put it that way.
I reckon you nearly have to go field there with Fancy Red. She's the best filly in the race, but it'll be interesting to see if she does get that trip. But we've seen on a few occasions in these staying fillies races that the class can get you a long way.
Yeah, exactly right.
As always, Pete, you keep on dominating. Enjoy your day.
Cheers, Gareth.
There's Peter Anthony. No Adam Duran. We can't find him at the moment. So we'll go and have a chat to Shane Churlio because he's been in handy form. The 300, we've got to give him a round of applause when he comes on because he was able to get the job for us at a double-figure price there last week on the Sunshine Coast. And we go back to Doomben on a Saturday afternoon now. So he's ready to go, Shane Churlio, for the Metro Bag of Tips. G'day, Shane.
G'day, Gareth.
How's things?
Yeah, well, mate. Well,
I've declared Brisbane. Yeah. Brisbane, like there. I've never been so bullish about my team heading towards September.
They did enough last night.
Yeah.
Not quite enough. A couple of disappointing performances, I thought.
Who?
Huey McCluggage didn't have more than 25 possessions and Cam Rayner only kicked 2. I sort of needed them to do a bit better, Gareth.
Oh, that's disappointing. Yep.
No, I might have to slide into their DMs, I think.
Yeah.
Give them a hard time about that. Be better.
Yes. Come on, Huey. Like, I would get around the other players too for not allowing him to get off the tag a little bit, like he just took over.
True.
And
Bit of selfishness from the other midfielders there, probably, but
that'd be a difficult team, same game multis, the Brisbane Lions, because they're such an even football club right across the paddock these days. They share it around.
They do.
What are you doing at Doomben on a Saturday?
Well, are they still betting to NBLs to 2,000 as Metro NBLs? Because this is a country meeting.
Yes, they
so
are.
Hopefully we can. Yeah, that's good to hear because this is a terrible meeting, Gareth. Real end of carnival stuff. This, but it's where we do our best work out wide, and this feels like an out wide meeting with a few out wide chances.
You do bet at Toowoomba every Saturday, so I think you think this should be a good meeting, Doomben.
This is just tick the box as we go along. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I won't go. I'll start. I'll just go through what I think will win.
That'll help.
There's no.
No, I don't want you to go through. I don't want you to go through the horses you think that'll lose.
No, well, I was going to say we can't start with the feature race because that's a benchmark 78.
Yeah, well, I just want your best, please. How do we make some money, Shane?
Sort of suspect race 2, number 13. Race 2, number 12, Sicilian. Didn't go forward last start. Went back, and from gate 1, I think it'll lead and win. Quite simply.
Are you cheering Family Lang or Ange Jones? I'm cheering Family Lang. I don't. Ange Jones, we haven't had a chat to her. She keeps on telling us she'll come on and then she'll cancel at the last minute. And Emily Lang was great, so I'm cheering for. I'm in the Emily Lang bandwagon.
I don't think Ange Jones would be the first or last girl to say that to you, Gareth.
Oh, bang! I walk straight into that uppercut.
No, well, actually, I know a couple of my young fella actually had a bet in the Jockeys Challenge and backed Ange Jones when James Orman got his finger bitten off.
Oh, okay.
And then he come back and went to Hong Kong, so that's worked out well. So we're cheering Ange Jones here.
Yeah, well, I'm cheering Emily Lang. So go, Em. She rides Sicilian to victory.
I thought Emily Lang gets a chance here in race 2 on number 12 Sicilian.
Yes.
I just thought from gate 1, as I said, it'll go forward this week. It's got no weight on its back. No, sorry, it's got no weight. It's got with a claim and gate 1. Emily Wright does her best work when she's on speed, and I think that's where this horse will be on Saturday. And I think it'll be hard to beat. $4 is no real spoil, but I think it can win. So
$4.40. We're getting it bet 365.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at the wrong tabs. Sorry there. No, bet 365 much better prices than if it drifts, Gareth.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
The odd strip protector. Yep.
So that's race 2. Sicilian. Bear with me here.
Yeah, we will.
Should have wrote these down.
It would help if you
race
could do
5.
that.
Go across to race 5.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, look, I found Emily Lang again here, Gareth.
Beautiful.
Your girl. Race 5, number 12, Crestbrook. Happy to forgive last start. I think there's a bit of speed engaged here, even though it is a relatively smallish sort of field. Crestbrook stepped up to the 1350 and they went forward on it, where normally it had been winning and running well from back in the field over shorter distances. So stepping up to the 1350 and going forward, it didn't work. It only got beat 1.8, but it was a pretty average race. So I thought from the gate this week it'll be ridden a bit quieter. It has been hitting the line good before last start, and so ridden quieter, 1350, down there with 52 kilos on its back and no weight, and a number of horses here that want to lead. I just like the setup, Gareth, and I think it's a good each way chance, a good bet each way. Race 5, number 12, Crestbrook. What price?
$9.310 with Bet365. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That'll do. Go across to race 6. We'll need a little bit of luck here. Like Les Tilley's not a known Metropolitan winning rider, Gareth, but you can only rank jockeys versus who they're riding against in the race, not in this instance. So these jockeys that are riding here on Saturday aren't names you'd normally associate with riding multiple Metropolitan winners. And Tilley gets onto Tijuana two-step, who was big two back behind King Yoshi. And then last start at the Gold Coast, it was on a heavy track. It did make ground from the back, but it didn't really get much chance from the way it was ridden. We'll need a little bit of luck from the gate here, Gareth, no doubt, but the horse is flying. And again, it's one of those races where it looks like there's should be able to generate enough speed in this race for Tilley to come back with cover track into the race and finish off really strong. At its best, I think it's the best horse. It just needs a little bit of luck. And I'm happy to find out at the price at around that 750-ish quote. What price exactly?
We're getting $7.235.
Yeah, right. And I've skimmed half a point there.
Perfect.
Email someone to get that fixed, can you?
Yes. It's been well supported as we speak.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Go to race 9, my best bet, Gareth.
Yes. Mr. Bianco.
Are we allowed to have a little bit of fun with the Mr. Bianco thing, or are we past that now because you've interviewed Paul and it's all good?
Well, I haven't got a problem with it. Like a Debbie Downer like you that wants to boo Santa Claus will say it's a disgrace and he should have started Mr. Bianco, and you don't care about the owners or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't.
So do you think he should have been forced to race?
No. All I'm going to say is that there's no suitable jockey in the jockey room to ride at last start, and the jockey on it this week has ridden 7 winners from his last 100 rides. And it's drawn a wide gate, so I'm interested to see where it ends up. But it's the favourite, and it's not even the best horse in the race.
You've been potting this horse for a while, and to Paul's defence, this Kyle Wilson-Taylor's probably been to the Gold Coast and ridden this horse in track work just to get a feel of it. You know what I mean?
No
it's a difficult horse to ride.
No. Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, you need someone with soft hands, I think.
I hope he dongs you next time he sees you, Kyle Wilson-Taylor.
I'm talking about the horse here, Gareth, not the trainer.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the horse. I don't think the horse is that good. It's won $250,000 and won its last 3, and I'm potting it. Like, it's not the best horse in the race. The best horse in the race is number 11. She's ours. Absolutely pitched in here with the weights. What's the spread here, Gareth?
$5.210.
Master Bianco 61.5 versus She Ours at 52 with 52 kilos. There's a 9 kilo swing here. We're on She Ours last start where it half went forward, then half went to go back, and then went to go forward again, and ended up going back. And what did finish off the fastest last 200 of the race, but it just found itself in a bit of an unwinnable position. But when they did dash from about the 400 to the 200 or the 500 to the 300-ish, it didn't sort of quite go with them, so it looks like it wants to go to 1350. Only needs a tiny ounce of luck. This horse had a drawn like gate 4 or 5. I'd say it's the greatest moral of the week.
Okay, be careful.
But it didn't. It drew gate 8, and it needs just a slight. It's an ounce of luck, Gareth, and this thing just wins. It's the bet of the day. Happy to take the risk that it needs a bit of luck because we're getting, what, $5-ish?
Yes, $5.210. Robbie Dolan takes the ride.
Yep. It's my best. I think it's just the best horse in the race, and I think it wins. It just needs that tiny ounce of luck in the first 300 metres.
So
and it'll get the job done.
So it's race 9, number 11. Shane Churlio's best there at Doomben. Anything else for us before we say goodbye, Shane? I've got about a minute
that'll do,
15.
Gareth. Hopefully I get to talk to you tomorrow.
You will?
So we can look at the Gold Coast and Toowoomba back under lights, Gareth.
Which is great to see. Our Saturday nights are complete. They're under lights.
Indeed.
Yeah, back on a Saturday night in conjunction with the Inter-Dominion as well. So in Brisbane. So look out. We'll see you next week in Brisbane. Look forward to it.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't wait either. Thanks for that, Shane. Shane Churlio there. It's quickly approaching 9:30. Mitchy Lewis will join us to go through his best at Murray Bridge and at Caulfield on a Saturday afternoon. The Sir John Monash Stakes is the feature there at the Heath. Good program for a winter. I remember when I was a kid, I reckon Mum took me to my first ever Metropolitan Gallops meeting, and it was at Caulfield in the middle of winter, and it was the Sir John Monash Stakes. And I reckon you can get a taste. Spring's not far away. Month and a half, I know, but the better horses aren't far away. We'll take the news.
Powered by Signet, making SEN news this hour. WA Police resuming their search at first light for a missing German backpacker. Carolina Wilger's van was found abandoned in a remote part of the state's northeast wheatbelt region yesterday afternoon. It's been revealed that Kevin Rudd had a secret meeting with Donald Trump back in January. The Collingwood member who sent a threatening message about Michael Voss has copped a big ban. Melbourne legend Brian Dixon has passed away at the age of 89, and the death toll from the flooding in Texas has now reached over 120. SEN.com.au sport coming up next. The final shaping match between the Hawks and the Dockers in Perth tomorrow night. Hawthorn have dropped one young forward for another. Coach Sam Mitchell telling SEN Cal Shadir should handle the conditions better than Max Ramsden.
Probably a bit of wet weather over in WA. Having that tall marking option, but who is also quite strong on the ground and can put some pressure on, is what we went for this week.
Weather's next.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENtrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. We're streaming live every day on the SEN app. You can watch us on the SEN app, Facebook page or YouTube, and listen to us on your local SENtrack dial or the SEN app, all thanks to Bet365. Now, you've got to play, and this is free. So, Mitchy Lewis is joining us now. G'day, Mitchy.
Good morning, G. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you. It's a 6-horse challenge. So, with Bet365 6-horse challenge this Saturday, if you're an existing customer, head over to the racing section and click on the games or submit your selections for a chance to win $50,000. So don't worry if you don't get all six right, because you still receive some cash like you did last week, close to $1,000 if you got 4 right. And if you get 5 horses right last week, you would have got $10,000. So that's subject to availability. Eligible customers only. Terms and conditions apply. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. So We're back just to Sydney and Melbourne races 8, 9 and 10 at Randwick, and races 7, 8 and 9 at Caulfield. So, yeah, sometimes it's difficult in winter to get all 6 right, but you've got to be in it to win it. So, yeah, and it's free to play. You just need to be a customer with Bet365 and you get an opportunity to win 50,000. Mitchie, what do you make of this Caulfield meeting?
Yeah, it's pretty even, G. Like you touched on pre-break, there's some good horses coming in here, some good winter form lines. So, it'll be interesting with the rain. I had a look at the forecast. Yeah. I'm seeing soft 6 now. Rain today, no rain tomorrow. So, with a couple of my picks, I'm hopeful we're on that worst side of a 6.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be any worse than 6, but time will tell. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that track plays, because horses like, for instance, as we look at, well, we'll go through your tips then, because you're looking for horses that need it on the worst side of a soft 6. I would imagine you're tipping the Joe Pride Galloper in the Sir John Monash Stakes.
Yeah. So if they can do a rain dance and it gets to a heavy, we'll be very, very keen. But I think I heard Joe Pride yesterday, say to you, he was pretty happy to be anything soft 6 or worse. So I just think, it's winter racing for these better races. It's the fitness edge that she's going to bring into the race. She's absolutely flying up there in New South Wales, and even went to Queensland and won a listed race, beating Kin there. She beat Brudenell nicely last time. She's freshened up, had a nice trial since the freshen up, and like I said, I think the track's going to suit her. So I'm pretty bullish that she runs a good race here, G.
So that's a good push for In Flight. What else have you got for us?
In race 7, look, it's a tricky enough race, but I thought Zoo Sensation's come back as good as it ever has. 2 pretty good runs this prep. I mean, the 5th was okay here at Caulfield in the 84, but then really hit its sort of stride last start. I think 3rd up now, it's off some good form references. It's probably ready to go. Like Yellow Sam, I think, is one of the dangers with the likes of Lim Sao Toro, but Zoo Sensation down in the weights, drawn well, gets every opportunity.
So that's race 7, number 10, Zoo Sensation. Anything else, mate? Or we go to Murray Bridge?
I've got one, G. We can have a little player, I think. Last I checked was $29. Race 6, horse number 9, Prince of Nottingham for the Inform Pain Stable and Tommy Preble on. So, look, the wide barrier is probably a little bit of concern, and at the value, we're only playing small to take a bit of a risk. But I just think 3rd up here, like the horse has been 5th and 12th in 2 runs so far this prep, but only 4 lengths off Namestake and 4 lengths of Stylish. 3rd up, it tends to peak. It's 4 runs 3rd up, 2 wins and a 2nd, and soft conditions are going to suit. So if they're getting away from the rail, I think Prince of Nottingham ends up in an okay position, and hopefully around that $30 mark, G. I'm just going to have a little tiny nibble in the hope that the Informed team who fly during the winter stable have her up and going.
You're getting $29.850 with Bet365. One of our listeners wants to know, you're all over Yellow Sam there the other day, Mitchie. What do you make of her chances on Saturday?
I've got her in the numbers. Big fan of her. So 3rd up now, for me, I just think she tends to operate best in her 1st and 2nd up runs, and she flattens out a little bit sometimes. I know she's got a good 3rd up record. She's 2 3rd up for a win and a 2nd, but I think she's at her best fresh. So that was my only concern, that in a handy race, where exactly is she going to be? But she's certainly in the quaddie, because she won't mind a wet track either, Jay.
What about at Murray Bridge?
Yeah, Murray Bridge, tough. I think you want some value there. Just again, it's sort of it's going to be a wet track. I think you're going to want to find some cover in run, so tricky race maps. Race 4, I like horse number 6, Notesy. It's run 2 placings so far this prep. I know they were very bullish first up. It's been well supported in both starts. I just think getting onto the Murray Bridge track here now suits. Wide barrier, it's out of the chute start, so not a huge concern, but they'll go along pretty quick, and if Notesy can get some cover, hopefully find the middle of the track and run over the top of them. So she's one I'm pretty bullish on. And then in race 6, horse number 4. No, that's some bad handwriting from me, G. Race 6, number 14. Another House. Was pretty unlucky last time. I think we tipped this horse. Run 3rds, had no luck in the straight, stuck on the rails. Comes here to this race, home track, no weight on its back, drawn well. So if it gets a clear run in the big open space, I think if it can show a neat turn of foot like it did last start, it should be finishing strongly.
Yeah, you're getting another house about 550, 230 there for that galloper at Murray Bridge on Saturday. Good on you, Mitchy boy. Enjoy your day, brother.
Thanks, mate. You too. Have a good one and good luck, listeners.
Just having a look at our Bet365 top 4 Bet Boost multi. Now, you're getting 728. So yesterday, I reckon it was around $9, wasn't it? So if you like it, get on because it keeps on firming up. Supercilious, race 3 at Caulfield is Miles' tip. Federer, race 5 at Randwick is Mickey Gaddon's tip. Run, Harry, Run. Race 7 at Caulfield. I don't mind that horse each way. And In Flight for Joe Pride, and that was Mitch's tip, race 8 at Caulfield. So Supercilious at Caulfield, race 3. In Flight, Caulfield, race 8. Run, Harry, Run, race 7 at Caulfield. And then Federer in Sydney, race 5. That Bet Boost with Bet365 is now $7.28. 9:39, we'll take a break. We'll come back with, I reckon we'll have a chat to Andrew O'Toole to preview day 2 of the Darwin Carnival.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall. The Giddy Up Bag of Tips for Oz Equipment Rentals. Supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com.
Let's find you a few winners with the bag of tips for the Ultima Hotel in the heart of the Mallee. Oz Equipment Rentals. Look them up at OzEquipment.com. And with Bet365 Top Tote Plus, you'll get the best payout across all 3 national totes. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Mitchy Lewis at Geelong likes race 8, number 3, Electric Tommy. And at Mount Gambier, race 5, number 11, In Your Words. And Alpanova, race 8, number 10. So race 5, number 11, race 8, number 10. Luke Ovanessian at Maruya likes race 4, number 9, 2A. And race 7, number 11, Vermicelli. So race 4, number 9, race 7, number 11. And it's Scone, race 6, number 3, Off the Scale. And race 7, number 1, Pantaree. So race 6, number 3, race 7, number 1. Head to thetrots.com.au for expert harness racing tips and in-depth analysis for all major Victorian meetings. At Mildura today, race 7, number 4, Be Good Mickey. And race 9, number 9, To the Nines, the tips from Darren Carroll. And at Melton tonight, Darren Carroll likes Mitchison Roy, race 1, number 12. And Love to Be Up to Me, race 4, number 9 at Melton. So race 1, number 12, race 4, number 9. And Harness Racing New South Wales, home of Carnival of Cups. Harness Racing where, of course, Australian music royalty meets quality harness racing action. At Wagga today, Amanda Rando likes race 3, number 2, Mop. Race 7, number 3, Perfect Stranger. And race 8, number 8, Wipeout. Race 3, number 2, race 7, number 3, race 8, number 8. And at Newcastle, race 1, number 1, Imperial Knight. Race 3, number 10, Lasting Memory. And race 6, number 3, The Great Wave. So that's the tips there at Newcastle for Amanda Rando. 0499 736 736. Keep sending in your $100 plays of the day. Thoroughly enjoy them. They're flowing in. Of course, if you can be the most successful staking plan this weekend, we'll spend $100 with you at Don Bradman, and you can play, of course, come on the show and give your staking plan for the week after. So 0499 736 736. If you've got a question for Heath Pope, he'll join me straight after 10 o'clock. Been a lot of feedback regarding AI and how you can do the form with AI. So Popey's going to run through a few races at Caulfield. But if you've got a question for him, how you go about it, you can let us know. 0499 736 736. That's 0499 736 736. Or you can even give us a call on 1300 23 55 48. 1300 23 55 48. We'll take a break. On the other side of it, Andrew O'Toole's not far away.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall at 7 minutes to 10 o'clock. Great to have your company on this Friday morning. 0499 736 736 to join our conversation. Paulie will go through the staking plans in just a moment. So we'll get them up on our screens, plus your questions regarding doing the form from an AI perspective. Heath Pope will join us once again. From popular demand, a few people have wanted him to come back on to discuss more of the way that he goes about it. So we'll get Popey on straight after the 10 o'clock news. But now time to talk about what's been happening at Fanny Bay. Of course, it's day 2 of the carnival there tomorrow afternoon. NT Thoroughbred Racing, the best show in sand and the top end this Saturday, and Andrew joins us now. G'day, mate.
Morning, Gareth.
Plenty to look forward to. 7 races, the feature. Geez, the time-honoured Chief Minister's Cup, which is always a great lead-up race to the big race, the Darwin Cup.
You've hit the nail on the head, Gareth. It's without a doubt the best lead-up, the Chief Minister's. And good field. Shame we've lost Hasseltoff. He has had an issue since the Ellis Cup, and trainer Dick Leach has been struggling to get him to the races, and unfortunately he came out yesterday. So that's a real blow. He was, of course, the Ellis Springs Cup winner and the only horse that could win what we call the territory treble up here. That's the Ellis Cup, the Chief Ministers, and the Darwin Cup. But he won't be going around. But, of course, we're going to see the star so far of this year in Darwin and Cinquetori go round again. You know, I'm a big fan of this horse, Gareth. He's done everything right. He smashed that track record for the Rowan Cup here last start over the 1,300 metres, and stepping up to the mile should hold no fears for him. Drawn the inside gate, Adam Nichols aboard. Looking forward to seeing him out again. Good race, the Chief Ministers this year, with the likes of last year's devastating winner in Bear Story, Hadouken, of course, last year's Cup winner, and a couple of newcomers to the top end in Picaroon and Flash Flood. Looking forward to seeing them going around. Of course, Wolfburn. He had 2 runs back this time, Gareth, and he probably hasn't gone as well as expected. Couple of excuses both times, but I think you'll see a better Wolfburn tomorrow. Okay. You know, whether he can beat Cinquetori remains to be seen. But really good renewal of the big race, the Chief Ministers, tomorrow.
What else do you like, mate?
I think Chris Pollard can have a decent day tomorrow. The local trainer, he's got Villa 79 in race 1. Been racing well. Paul Shires takes the mount. Of course, we don't. We all know what a great rider Paul is. And in the third, the horse that's chased home Cinquetori the last twice they've gone round is Bonjour Back. No Cinquetori in race 3, and I think Bonjour Back with a 3-kilo claim will be very hard to beat. So those 2 for Chris Pollard and Cinquetori in the last for me.
Beautiful. We had a chat to Chloe Baxter, I think, on Tuesday. She trains Vanguard Legend, who took out the Darwin Guineas. She was great to catch up with. She's got a small team, but she's doing an extremely good job.
Doing a great job, Chloe, and full kudos to her for the job she's done with Vanguard Legend, who judged on his performance in the Guineas. He obviously looks like he'll be the favourite for the Ladbrokes Derby, which is, of course, tomorrow week. I thought the second horse was good. The men went home. He just didn't have the sprint the other horse produced over the last 250 metres. The 2050 of the Derby, I think, will suit him better. They certainly look the standout pair. Capitol Hill won the 3-year-old race, the other 3-year-old race on the day. He's also trained by Chloe, so she'll have a strong hand in the Derby in just over a week's time.
Beautiful, mate. Looking forward to it. Bring it on.
Absolutely. Good on you, mate.
Good on you, mate. There's Andrew O'Toole, NT Thoroughbred Racing, the best show on sand, the top end this Saturday, and it is a great day's racing there at Fanny Bay, highlighted by the traditional lead-up, the best lead-up to the Darwin Cup, the Chief Minister's Cup. Keep sending the text messages in. There's been plenty discussed today from a punting perspective. Isn't there a massive integrity issue paying back to last in the Melbourne Cup? That's from Ants. Can you just explain that a little bit in more detail, Ants? I can understand that there's some saying that trainers and connections will start their horse if they're out of form in a Melbourne Cup now because they're going to get paid $100,000 back to last. I reckon if you've got a horse that's eligible and can get into a Melbourne Cup and it's fit enough and it might be slightly out of form, I reckon most people, if they're living the Australian dream, are wanting to compete in a Melbourne Cup. There's going to be the VRC haven't, like when I first, like, I don't know, Paulie Sebastianis, I say hello to you because you've got these staking plans ready to go. When I first heard about this, I thought, I don't know about paying back to last. It's not the Australian way. I just think that you should be rewarded for your excellence. If you can finish in the top 12, you should be paid well from a Melbourne Cup perspective. But more I looked into it, costs you around $60,000 to compete in a Melbourne Cup. It's the biggest turnover race. I reckon that I don't mind you getting paid now back to last. I don't think it'd be too much of a problem.
I mean, if you just look at it logically to a certain point, which you can't do all the time, but if say you finish, if you finish 13th and then you finish 20th and you get the same amount of prize money, is that fair? Say if you beat the 13th horse by 10 lengths and you get the exact same prize money, is that fair to a point?
Yeah, maybe you should.
But Racing Victoria, they've got to try something, Gareth.
Yeah, I don't think, but the Melbourne Cup's always been the Melbourne Cup. It's going to be our biggest turnover race. The field's always going to be. It's not going to be the greatest race because it's a handicap over 2 miles.
Probably needs to be a little bit more control over those out of form horses that are in the race as well.
I think there's going to be conditions to that race
Spot on.
that the VRC
Spot
will
on.
put in
Spot
that
on.
we don't know anything about yet, and they'll let us know when they're ready to go. All right, then it's 10 o'clock. We'll get your staking plans. We've got a few coming through, don't we?
Plenty coming through, mate. A heap.
Straight after the news.
Powered by Signet. Good morning, I'm Adam Pond with SEN News. The Coalition is demanding more details after revelations Kevin Rudd had a brief meeting with Donald Trump at his Florida golf club earlier this year. It was said to be an informal chat between our American ambassador and the US president in January, but it's unclear exactly what was discussed. Shadow Finance Minister James Patterson has told Seven full transparency is needed.
We need to know, was AUKUS discussed? Was the trading relationship discussed? Was a meeting with the Prime Minister planned? None of that detail has been provided.
The death toll from the floods in Texas has hit 120. Over 170 people are missing. Sergeant Jonathan Lamb from Kerr County Police says the search and rescue efforts could take weeks to complete.
We have large debris piles, and we ask them not to use heavy equipment because it's possible there are victims in that debris pile.
The world's biggest shopping platform is taking steps to address an onslaught of artificial intelligence-generated content. AI bots are churning out hundreds of books a day, often paraphrasing, imitating or summarising existing works. Amazon has now banned Kindle self-publishers releasing more than 3 books a day and requires them to disclose all AI-generated content. And a new Jimmy Barnes documentary will premiere at the Melbourne International Film Festival next month. The sequel, Working Class Man, will debut 7 years after the release of Working Class Boy. sen.com.au sport is coming up next. American Amanda Anisimova has reached her first Grand Slam final, beating world number 1 Arina Sabalenka in a tough 3-setter at Wimbledon. The 23-year-old will face Iga Swiatek in the decider. Aussie Rinky Hinchikata and his Dutch partner have upset the number 1 seeds to reach the final. And no big stadium games for the WBBL this season. No matches at the MCG or SCG in this summer's schedule.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall, 0499 736 736. Answers come back and says, as horses only need to pay up $60,000 minimum to collect a minimum $100,000 for running, dead last is like investing in the share market with a positive return, win or lose. The Everest is the same. You pay $700,000 and I think you get the $700,000 back, depending on what deal, of course, they do with the slot holders or the owners of their horses. But I can understand where you're coming from, Ed. So I agree with Paulie in a way that paid back to last, maybe even get your money back for finishing last, but you should get more if you finish 14th compared to the horse that's finished 20th, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, the distribution's key, is it not?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are we surprised that the woke state of Victoria is paying out horses that come in last? Everyone's a winner nowadays. You watch, they'll have a prize for the most improved horse soon. That's a good point, Booger. There's an argument to say that. But time will tell if it works or not. I can see the positives and I can see the negatives out of it.
I like what Richard said earlier this morning. That was a good
about
good
the international horses.
Yeah. We've had some, I mean, from Australian representatives, I'm talking purely Australian-bred horses, Gareth. We've had, I mean, Extreme Choice won the Melbourne Cup last year as a breeder.
Correct.
It's unbelievable.
Nice Choice won it.
Yeah.
I think that Racing Victoria, because it's a handicap as well, and VRC are going to put their own conditions in that race. And I know the handicap has got done on points, and there's a list about what horses are in the order of entry. But I would love for the handicapper or the VRC to have some discretionary powers to make a decision on horses that are out of form or in form.
100%. 100%.
But as long as everyone knows the criteria before that, when they put the conditions out before nominations.
Absolutely.
But I find like ridiculous as well in this. Like it costs you $60,000 to run in a Melbourne Cup.
Yeah,
$60,000.
There has to be some
and there's
sort of
it costs.
incentive
Sometimes
to
we
run.
get bills. We got a bill with our horse, and it's expensive to run in these big races. And if they run no good, you're getting bills $20,000 plus.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
if you've got a syndicate of people trying to do that,
of course. This is the thing. The big trainers are always going to be. They're always going to be on top to a point, Gareth. It's very, very, and you can put all the policies in place to a point to try to control that, but then those top trainers will say, well, you know what, I'm going to take my horses elsewhere. I'm going to move overseas.
And do you know the other conditions I wouldn't put in to stop training? I wouldn't put. Like, if you're going to pay back to last, don't reward the trainer for training a horse that finishes last. Give it all to the owners, the 100,000, not the 15 or 20% that go to the jockeys and the trainers for running last. You shouldn't get rewarded for that. But if the owners can make it in the Cup, why not?
Well, is there an argument to say, does Chris Waller and do Kieran Maher and whatnot, they don't deserve to have runners in the Melbourne Cup because they've got too many runners and we should put a cap on it? But, I mean, they put in the hard yards, do they not? They put in the hard work. Yeah. Do they not deserve what comes their way to a point? Is that what we're saying, or is there more a case? Because it has to be fair to a point, right? You have to give everybody who's in the lower echelons of the hierarchy a certain chance to get themselves up there. Yeah. And we saw that last year with the Melbourne Cup. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, everyone's got their own opinion on it, and I don't think it works paying to last in benchmark races. I think that you need to have some. You can't reward mediocrity, but I think it's still a great achievement to get a horse into a Melbourne Cup.
We'll see how it all pans out, mate.
Get your questions in for Popey. He joins us now. G'day, Popey. Hello to you, Heath.
Yes.
The king of AI. How's things, mate?
Yeah, good, Gareth. Yourself?
Yeah, good. We got a lot of questions coming through regarding AI.
Yep.
So you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'll try.
Because you're the one that's been the man that's definitely putting. You're the spokesperson for doing the form from an AI perspective. Here we go.
Yep.
Potentially AI are found to be successful with punting. My result in betting companies becoming even more conservative with odds resulting in a negative, not a positive impact on punters. That doesn't make sense what I just read out there. So I think he's saying that whoever that person is, AI has been successful from his punting, but from a betting company's point of view, they don't think that they've got it right with their AI, with them framing the markets. I think that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the thing is, everyone can have their own different rules.
Correct.
So just because, yeah.
So here we got a few others. Got a heap of questions coming through. What questions do you prioritise in your AI model there, Popey?
Yeah, okay. Do you want me to answer these now?
Yes,
or?
yes, please.
Oh, yeah. We're not on air, are we?
Yeah, we are on air. We're live,
Oh,
Popey.
geez. I'm so sorry, Gareth.
That's all right, brother. I don't know where else would be. We're definitely live on air. So these are the questions coming. These are the questions.
Oh boy.
These are the questions coming through. Thank God you cleared that up, Popey. So what are your prioritize? What do you prioritize in your AI model when you put in? What do you want to put into AI?
Okay, right. I mainly focus on sectional data, so it's extremely time consuming. However, it's also the most rewarding for me. I'm also running some other models where it's more on race shape and form and past betting, and there's a few different things, but that's where it's not so labour intensive. However, the sectional data is where it's where you're breaking down the race into like a couple of different stages. I can even run different scenarios. If the pace will be such and such, what tempo will other horses, are they capable of finishing off when the tempo is expected to be such and such? I was even going to give a good example later.
Give an example now, mate. Yeah, explain
it.
In
flight.
Race.
Yeah, so it's the John Monash Stakes, race 8.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest, looking at this race, the more I looked at it, the more confused I got. However, if I'm a bookmaker, I'm laying in flight over the gap. To me, I can't have it settling more than 5 lengths off the pace.
Yes.
Now, that means it's going to have to produce somewhere around 33 seconds for its final 600 metres to be able to run down the leaders, which it hasn't done before. Admittedly, a lot of its runs have been on rain-affected going, so there's a lot of respect there. However, also just with the form, like first time around Melbourne going, first go around Caulfield, I just think there's a few things going against it at $3, and I just can't possibly have it. So basically what I'm trying to say, Gareth, is race shape is so important for me. So that's where my sectional data comes into it.
Okay, so are you in flight? Are you thinking that what kind of conditions does she need? Like soft 6 wet enough, soft 5 maybe not? What's your thoughts there? Have you put that in AI?
Yeah, so obviously, so at the moment I think, what have we got, a soft 6?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, last night doing the form, I was working on a better track than that, so that obviously does help in flight. However, I just can't see how, like, so up front I've got Limbs Kosciuszko going about 1.5 lengths above benchmark.
Yes.
I think recommendation comes across and settles very handy. Do you agree with that, or?
Yep, I agree with that. Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, straight away, like, recommendation.
If it jumps recommendation, it's got to jump, first of all. Can AI tell you if it's going to jump or not?
First of all, let me say AI is far from perfect.
Yes.
You still need to put some work in. However, recommendation, I mean, I'm going to put a total line through that last start run at Flemington.
Yeah.
Back at Caulfield, it's won 3 from 6 at Caulfield. It's won 4 from 4 Group 3 level. You know what? It's probably not the numbers it was producing 2 years ago would win this. However, if it is running, because it's got a proven record settling on a tempo, so I was able to put in, okay, how can recommendation finish settling on a tempo 1.5 lengths above average? And it's telling me it has been more than proven at that tempo, and it's going to give a big sight. And what are we? We're getting nearly
$8.50 for recommendation.
It's the big improver.
Okay.
First up, it wasn't actually a bad run. It pulled up lame. Third up, 2 from 4. But it's also looking at the other horses, Gareth. And in flight, to me, it's also very price dependent. And in flight, conceding 4.5 fight lengths, I just think it's if it can run them down, then I'll be the first one to applaud it. But at $3, that's not value.
So breaking that with AI, you worked out your speed maps and the way that the race will shape you with recommendation at 8.50, 260. And of course he has to jump, and they've given him some barrier practice. So that's the way you're playing there. Duke wants to know, looking forward to Heath Pope. I've been playing around with AI this week. I find it quite cool to use and fun. Can you ask Heath which horse form does he use to put in to AI? Best Bets, the Sports Bet, Tab RaceNet, or what kind of data do you use there, Popey?
Mate, you can't beat racing.com.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends what state you're looking at, but for Melbourne form, they've got the best sectional data freely available for you. It depends on how much time you're willing to put in. However, if you're willing to input sectional data into your models, and I need to stress that everyone's going to have a different idea on how they do the form. The way I do the form could be totally different to how Joe Bloggs does his form. Doesn't mean he won't win. He's just got different ideas. And the ideas that you have, AI will help you enhance those ideas.
Question for okay then. So we'll keep going through.
So,
we haven't got much time, mate. So there's a few questions coming through. So we'll go through them. How much emphasis do traders place on AI generated form when forming markets now, Heath, in your eyes?
You're massive. And in saying that, I actually think they're overbet. That's just my opinion. The figures that I look at suggest to me, they're going to have high win strike rates. However, if you consistently bet those certain trainers, I think you'll be losing more money than you win.
So how do you get an edge now with AI if the markets are being thrown by AI technology, Popey?
You just perform different strategies. Just because, like, I might be looking at totally different rules to what the bookmakers are doing. At the end of the day, I think what they're looking at is, they'd be framing markets on how certain horses are supported.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're looking at the form. However, they're also got risk assessors in there trying to, protect themselves, so to speak. So I'm just out there trying to find an edge my way, and I'm sure anyone out there who has a half decent idea about racing will be able to do the same.
So what's your AI special this week, Popey? There's a heap of questions coming through. So Louis might be onto a winner here. I want to do a form panel a little later on Friday. I want to have an AI form analyst. I want to have a video form analyst, and they can go at each other and be interested to get their opinions. So what's your best, mate, before we let you go this weekend?
Let's just stick to Caulfield. I'm going to sound a bit boring here. It's right in the market, but it maps absolutely ideally. Race 3, number 3, Zapo. However, respecting enormously number 4 in the same race, Illy Ivy.
Okay.
Those two rate well ahead of the others.
Good on you, Popey. We'll catch up with you tomorrow, mate, on winners.
Thanks, Gareth.
Good on you, Popey.
Look forward to it.
Yes, and I'll let you know next time I talk to you, and we'll be on air. Some of your best work.
I promise we'll get off to a better start tomorrow.
No, I loved it. That's been authentic. That's been authentic. That could have been way worse. Imagine having someone like Tags or Brady on air for 30 seconds and not knowing you'd have all sorts of lawsuits coming in. Dead set liabilities they are. That's 100% Booger. Imagine, Booger, if we had you on air and we didn't realise that you were on air. Good on you, mate. Thanks for that, Popey. 10:18. We'll
Thanks,
take a
Gav.
break. We'll come back and talk some greyhound racing next.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SENTrack. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Greyhound Racing New South Wales have just delivered their industry future blueprint, which is an interesting read. And the CEO, Steve Griffin, joins us here. Of course, he's been in the role basically from the start of the year, and it hasn't taken him long to get to work. And he joins us now on Giddy Up. Good morning, Steve. Thanks for your time.
No worries, Gareth. Good morning.
So how did you go about putting together this blueprint?
Yeah, back in May, we had an industry summit with a lot of the key participants, Greyhound Clubs, New South Wales, Gibraltar, and a range of other key stakeholders, all together for 2 days in Wentworth Park, and discuss a whole range of issues to come up with all the initiatives that set out into the industry blueprint. So it's a fantastic document that makes sure that everyone's aligned about what we need to do to make our sport great in New South Wales.
There's obviously challenges in each code. What would be the biggest challenge in your code at the moment in New South Wales? Is it still welfare?
Yeah, welfare's going pretty well.
Yeah.
We've had our highest ever rehoming last year, over 1,600 greyhounds. So it's been fantastic. And the lowest level of euthanasia on tracks was only 16 last year. So fantastic results in terms of welfare. Our real challenge is we've got too many racetracks and we need to optimise those. And the other big thing is we need to bring investment into the sport. That's why public syndications is one of the big key elements of the blueprint, because we really need to do what the thoroughbred racing industry has done for the last 20 or so years, is to allow people to easily invest in our sport so that our trainers and breeders can earn a lot more money from the hard work that they do.
It's sort of a catch-22. I can understand where you're coming from there, Steve, but I get this question asked a lot. I reckon at least 10 or 15 people will get in contact with me in my social media inboxes asking me, how do we syndicate a dog or how do we get a greyhound? And I think that's the problem in the sport in a way that sometimes at the top end especially, the prize money's so good. The breeders and the trainers don't really want to give them up. If you know what I mean.
But I think once you have syndications, and then they have plenty of funds, then that will shift that dynamic. When they start to realise when they come to a puppy auction and earning up to $100,000 for a good pup instead of 2 or 3, then I think that'll change the dynamic. And the real thing is, Gareth, is that prize money just can't increase sufficiently enough every year to support the trainers in the industry. We need to have income coming in through syndications to give them the incomes they need to provide good welfare, not only for themselves, but also for their greyhounds.
Yeah, I love the idea of the syndications. What about turnover?
Yeah, turnover's been good. We've had our third biggest year in turnover, so that's been good. So look, greyhound racing right across the nation is going really well, and it's a really good product that obviously punters are very happy with. So look, we just need to get even better, and the blueprint sets out some things we're going to do a little bit differently to try attract more punters across to greyhound racing.
Shutting down tracks, there's been a lot of administrators in all three codes trying to do that because it's sometimes I think it's the way of the future, trying to consolidate your tracks from a safety perspective as well so you can keep a close eye on it. Plus it saves money. But you've got to get past, it can be a political nightmare trying to do that. You confident you can do that?
Yeah, probably this is the good window of opportunity for us. Really, we're using international companies to help us do this independently, so we can take that to the government and to local MPs who aren't going to be too happy about tracks closing in their electorate. So we're using a different approach. Plus, we understand that the Drake inquiry looked at this very aspect about the industry not being able to right size itself in the past, and that sort of hamstrung it in terms of making sure these tracks are safe as they possibly can be.
We've got about a minute, mate. Do you think that I know that the surf has been a nightmare in that new Parklands track, but do you think that's a way of the future where you build a facility that can be a one-stop shop in a way, especially for a metropolitan venue?
Yeah, I've been to Kew. The actual location's great. I know it's had its own problems in terms of the surface, and probably some of that is going to be examined more closely. But we've learned a lot from that experience. Certainly, we're going to be looking to do something similar in New South Wales in the next few years.
Yeah.
Probably a straight track and a big a one turner will be probably the go. But the big thing in terms of what's very successful at the Q, regardless of the surface, is the club itself. The local people are really using that club, and greyhound racing's got to actually, when we build something, we've got to build it for the community, just not for greyhound racing participants, because we need these venues when we invest in them to be used 24/7, and we need community people coming in there to not just be play the pokies or have a drink or have a feed, and then they come in and they experience greyhound racing, and so that increases community awareness about our sport and how well we treat our greyhounds.
Well said, mate. You can get onto the Greyhound Racing New South Wales site to have a look at the blueprint, but it's impressive, and we wish you the best of luck going forward. But we appreciate your time here on Giddy Up, Steve.
Thanks, Gareth. Appreciate it.
There's Steve Griffin, and that is Giddy Up. Friday form panel next.